We'll now have our inaugural address of the winter school by Professor Abhay Karandikar. So he's going to talk on fog computing in 5G and beyond. So I'll give a brief introduction to Abhay. He wanted his introduction to be very brief, so I'm keeping it extremely brief. So Professor Abhay Karandikar is currently the director of IIT Kanpur, and he is also a member of the Telecom Regulatory Authority of India. So with this, I request Professor Karandikar to give his inaugural address.
Thank you. Thank you, Rajesh. Thank you, Bob, Adam, Doug Zuckerman, all the leadership team of IEEE Standards Association. And as Doug mentioned, I think I would also like to thank Russell for the motivating, leader behind this winter school. So thank you very much for this, giving me an opportunity for this inaugural talk. I'll just give a brief introduction of how fog computing is going to affect the 5G. Of course, you are going to have a very intense talks later on in this school, which will go into more details. But I will just give you a brief overview. As all of you know that enhanced mobile communications capabilities over 4G are going to be the driving factors for the 5G. And as far as IMT 2020 is concerned, in the form of enhanced mobile broadband, we are going to have a mobility support up to 500 kilometers, very high peak data rate of 20 gigabits per second, and very high spectral efficiency. We believe that in India, the mobile broadband is going to be the primary use case for the 5G, because most of the users in India use cell phones as the primary device for the broadband communications, since we don't have that much availability of fiber to the home. Then massive machine-to-machine communications is going to be another big use case, where we will have a large number of devices connected in a small area. And finally, of course, the IMT 2020 or 5G will provide the ultra reliable low latency communications, that is extremely low latency of the order of 1 millisecond over the air. So just, like a textbook type introduction of a typical mobile network architecture, all of you know that we basically have an access networks and a core networks. And typically, how do we handle the mobility that a data tunnel is formed between the user device, that is a cell phone UE, and a gateway, which will be in the core networks. And whenever the UE moves from one base stations to another base stations, then its point of attachment in the networks may change, but typically the mobility anchor, that is the gateway, it doesn't change. And if you look this in the context of the 5G mobile network architecture, then you have the base stations which are called as GNB in the 3GPP terminology. And you have the core networks. So UPF forms the mobility anchor in the core. And the mobile core is typically today is going to be developed and deployed using a centralized cloud architecture. So these network elements of the core, like AMF or SMF or UPF, they are all going to be situated in the cloud. Now, if you look at the emerging mobile communications use cases, which I just briefly talked in the beginning, the massive IoT or the machine-to-machine communications is going to be a key 5G use case. And the typical applications which will drive the growth of IoT can be the smart homes or smart cities, villages, smart grids, the smart workplaces, essentially increased automations everywhere. And these devices can use varieties of wireless connectivity. They can use Wi-Fi, various forms of Wi-Fi, in fact, Bluetooth or LTE, 4G, and of course, going forward, the 5G. And as you know that most of these IoT devices are going to be stationary and the mobility is not important. Another important use case of the low latency communication is going to be mission critical communications, basically the public safety communications, or industrial control systems, mobile healthcare, and the V2X communications. As Bob Fish mentioned in his introductory talk, that IEEE Standards Associations, in fact, has been working on many of these topical areas in the mobile communications. Now, let me just tell you where the fog or edge computing comes into this. But before I just go into the fog, as all of you know that the cloud computing basically enables the remote delivery of these storage services, either in the form of program executions or analytics or intelligence, or in the form of databases. And the cloud infrastructure not only enables unlimited storage capacity, but also enables the scalability and business continuity. And because of economies of scale, you also have a cost-effective infrastructure. And that is basically the reason that in future, the core network is mostly going to be situated as a part of the cloud infrastructure. So if you look at the 5G networks, and video is going to be one of the important application from the content delivery networks. And the content delivery network, the CDN, is typically going to be a part of the mobile core as a part of the cloud infrastructure. And of course, you will have a UE specific data tunnel, which will enable the streaming of the video to the UE. Now, as far as the IoTs are concerned, then in the case of IoT applications, the IoT servers will be typically placed in the cloud along with 5G core. And in IoT, you will have number of sensors or actuators which will act as a UE, and a data tunnel will be formed via 5G networks to the IoT server in the cloud. You will have number of IoT user applications also, which can also act as a UE as far as the 5G networks are concerned. And again, here also we can have a separate data tunnel via 5G networks to the IoT servers. Now, the limitations with these are, I mean, I will discuss with both the use cases, IoT and also the video streaming from content delivery networks. The low latency communications are typically difficult to achieve, and it also might lead to increased usage of resources. And therefore, there is an increasing need of pushing the computing near the things, and that is what we call the fog. That we would like to bring the computation and storage near the IoT devices, and thereby we can reduce the communication path and improve latency and the response times. So basically, by fog, we are bringing the computing and storage from the core to the edge, and that can support the low latency applications. It can also lead to the location awareness and efficient use of the network bandwidth. However, there is typically an issue when we bring these computing and the communications to the edge. We cannot handle the mobility of devices, and particularly, the high-speed mobility. And therefore, we need to have a continuum with the cloud. So we can have a fog for stationary devices like IoT, and we can have a cloud for the mobile devices. And that way, I think the fog and cloud are going to complement each other. So just to give you an example of a CDN, we can have a content delivery network in the fog as well as in the cloud. So as far as the mobile UEs are concerned, they can be served from the cloud CDN. But as far as the stationary UEs are concerned, they can serve here from the Fox CDN. So this is a typical use case scenario of how the edge computing can be used for the video streaming. In the case of IoT, we can have a fog-based placement of the UPF, which is basically a core network element in the 5G. This can be placed in the access networks. And as far as the IoT server is concerned, that can be placed in the fog as well as in the cloud. And again, for stationary IoT sensors and IoT user applications, one can use the fog-based IoT servers. And as I mentioned earlier, for the video streaming for mobile devices, you can continue to use a cloud-based server. The third use case comprises of mission-critical communications, public safety communications with now even the LTE having LTE public safety case, we are likely to have a rapidly deployable mission critical systems, which can also not only have the device to device or the ad hoc networks, but can also have a infrastructure based networks where we are connected to the command and control server, a typical base stations and a mission critical server, and where you could have a either a security forces or the fire the fire workers and so on. So which for them it could be a ad hoc networks as well. And the fog computing in the public safety communications will have a very critical role. Basically, the public safety communications servers, they can be in the fog as well as in the cloud. However, these fog servers can enable the local communications between the devices on the ground, and this can also enable a relay-based communications between a set of users. The UE in this case, and that, as I said here, that this is a mission critical user, which could be a rapid action force, or this could be a fire brigade worker. They can actually also communicate via the core cloud if that is needed. And of course, the central command and control server can be directly situated in the cloud, and it can use varieties of wired or wireless networks for the connectivity. So in summary, the fog and edge computing together with the future deployment of the 5G can enable many use cases, either in the context of massive machine type communications or mission critical communications or the video streaming from the content delivery networks. The fog and edge computing is very easy to integrate with the 5G networks, and it can truly enable the use cases of lower latency, improved resource utilizations, and also an improved bandwidth efficiency. Indeed, it can address certain limitations of the cloud. User and device mobility is, of course, a key factor, and wherever you need the high-speed mobility, you can continue to use the infrastructure from the cloud. So a continuum of fog and cloud along with the 5G networks can enable an enhanced user experience for many use cases. Thank you very much. And I think, today in this school, I'm sure you will have an opportunity to go deeper into many of these aspects. which will actually discuss not only various algorithms and protocols, but also interfaces. We also have talks which deal with the security issues, and there are talks, which also deals with several applications. So once again, I think thank you very much for giving me an opportunity to give this inaugural talk. I'm sure we will have an exciting experience for the next 2 days.